everybody, welcome back to my channel, The Vibes Inside. I am Marianne and I am going to do a full moon reading in the sign of Leo, happening on the 12th of February 2025. I wanted to do it yesterday. I'm a bit late on this one, but still the energy is very present, so I hope it's alright for you that I do it today. I wasn't feeling well yesterday when the full moon was peaking, so I'm doing it today. I don't know how it has been for you, but full moons can be about completing something. When you complete something, it's like something comes full circle, it's done, it's over, you have, worked for something, and then it kind of comes into fruition, you could say, right? So this full moon can talk about, and with the sign of Leo being the sun, being like the great leader, right? That the sun is like the sun is the energy source for Earth, right? Without sun, there wouldn't be any life here. Sun can be beautiful, right? But we also know from the sun that if it's too close to Earth, it dries out everything. So sun is springtime is where we come out again, and the grass starts to blossom and the flowers start to blossom. Spring is beautiful. It is tempered to us, right? It fits with Earth. It fits with everything that can grow, starts growing. We have been waiting for the sun to come back. When sun is at its peak in June, July, August, it can be too hot, right? It can be too much. We actually need it to go away again. Otherwise, if it stayed that way, it would dry out everything. So we are in this cyclical, you could say, presence of sun, where we have, well, depending on where you live on Earth, of course, if you are close to equator, you will probably have the sun a lot. If you live in either very northern countries or southern countries, you can have this on-off feeling of sun, right? Right now I live in Denmark. I'm in the upper hemisphere. It is still winter. I guess it's not the hardest, most toughest winter ever, not at all. But still, I guess that people are still longing for the idea of being at the beach and looking forward to picnics outside and just enjoying outside life again with a more tempered weather, right? As tempered temperature. But as with everything else, there is a plus and minus with most. Leo as well. Leo can be beautiful, but it can be too much. With too little Leo, we suffer, right? There is not with too little sun. It's cold. It's there's little food, you could say, little food source, right? Life on Earth would be starving if there's too little sun. If there's too much sun, we are also starved out, we are drained, we are dried out, we burn out, right? Because the sun is overwhelming us. It has such power. It's so big, so it can drain us. It can feed us, but it can drain us, right? There's something about how Leo conducts itself with other people. Like, you'd say, we have no control over the sun. The sun controls us, right? That's kind of the agreement. That's how we live here on Earth. No matter how we think about it, sun is considered father also, right? Sun is considered father-ish energy. It's big. It has this enormous impact on everything here on Earth. I guess that in very old times, I think the sun was also considered more godlike, right? It has that power. It's a godlike power because it's so big and it can overwhelm Earth in a good way, but also in a draining way, right? It can give life, but it can also kill us, actually, right? It can do both. It has both, like most zodiacs or most interpretation, there is a light and dark aspect to all energies. So how does Leo conduct its energy? Leo is about leadership. It's about reaching the top of the mountain, shining the brightest, right? But sometimes when something shines the brightest, nothing can be with it because it's so enormous and immense, right? So I think one of life lessons for Leos is how to conduct their energy, how not to overrule others or the presence of others. That they can be in the room with others without overshining everyone else and make them feel less or make them feel bad or make them feel unworthy, So how do you come in, or how do you conduct your leadership? How do you, again, full moon is in completion. Maybe you are completing some kind, or there is a possibility with this full moon to complete a kind of leadership in your life. What kind of inner leader do you have? And how does it conduct itself with others, right? Does it overshine everything else? Can it take over? Does it want to lead without any with all consequence? Doesn't it care what it kind of shoves aside to get to the top of the mountain, right? Will it burn down all plans to get to the top of the mountain, or will it allow for others to be there? Do you get my point? It's this balance of willpower and the will to succeed, or as I've talked about this with Leos before, that Leos want to win. Like, they're extremely competitive. They are very, they will do like almost anything to get to the top. And because they are associated with the sun, it's kind of like they have the backing, right? Leos usually have some kind of charisma around them, right? They have this light shine around them, like they are a diamond, right? It's almost like people naturally follow them, like they are hypnotized by the lights. They follow it because it's so big, right? It has such confidence, right? Fire is about confidence also. It's a solar plexus chakra. It's personal power. Like Leos hold a lot of personal power. It shines from their solar plexus, right? That is the power that they have, and people can feel it. If they are around a very confident Leo, they will feel it. Like they would want to be near it and feel the sun, right? Like Earth wants to be near the sun because it's warming, right? It's almost like you can feed off it, right? That's how big it is. And Leo doesn't mind because they have enough, right? They are filled with this enormous power. Leos can be very gracious and generous, right? They can be like, they give out things because they have enough, right? They have enough to share, so they don't mind. But again, what is a Leo if there's nobody else around? I've said before with Leos, if there are no losers in a competition, like if there's nobody to compete with or to play with or to battle with or to be with, you could say, what does it mean to be a sun without anyone around you, if there are no planets around you? Do you have any idea that you are a sun if there's nobody around you who sees it? If there's no reflection, if there's no mirroring, if there's nobody who bows before you or wants to follow you or wants to go with you, will there ever be this other? This other? Like for a Leo to know that they are a winner, there has to be a loser. Or there has to be another, right? Another opposition to know that you are a winner, that you have succeeded, that you have climbed a mountain. There has to be a mountain, right? There has to be something else to witness or to compete with or to be in some kind of correlation with. Otherwise, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know that you are a sun if there's no mirror, if nobody shows you that you are a sun, right? I have the feeling that, again, there's something about completion, about that. This idea that you are a sun. We all have a sun sign. You are a sun. And that sun is positioned somewhere. I'm a Cancer sun, so it means that my sun is underwater. It's in the water, which is not a good place, you would say, or not necessarily the best place probably for a sun. You could say that the water could maybe distinguish the sun, right? Or the sun as it's normally understood. It means that the sun has to endure being underwater. It has to shine in water. It means that the sun has to transform what we normally know about the sun. It has to transform it into another version to be a sun in the water, right? So if your sun sign is Earth, a Taurus, a Virgo, a Capricorn, it means that your sun is earthy, not sunny, earthy. It means that you don't shine per se by yourself, you shine with something, like Earth with the sun. Earth receives the sun and does something with it. Plants start growing. All the life that has been hiding in the caves and in the ground comes forward. We come out of the houses. We engage with the sun. And then we do stuff here, right? We walk around, we build stuff, we do stuff. On Earth, we do this. So Earth people are usually very good, perhaps with their hands. They can make flowers grow. They are very good at, they're very good at building stuff out of nothing, with very little attention, very little sun. They can start building stuff. They make everything grow here. They maintain and build and does stuff here. They are productive. They make food. They can grow food. They can produce food. They can have businesses. They're very good at this. But what they do is they take an external source and do something on Earth with it. It's tangible, it's earthy, it's money, it's something like that. Business people here, right? That is the earthy element. You could say we are secondary to the sun. We take the sun, we take this the beam of the sun, and then we do something with it here on Earth, on this planet. We are not the sun. We take from the sun. We receive from the sun beam, and we make the best of what we can with that energy here in an earthy matter production. It's tangible. It's a product. It's food. It is. We grow things. That is earthy, right? Everyone who has fire energy, it's like it's inbuilt. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, it's inbuilt. The fire is in them. They are a sun per se in themselves. It's inbuilt. It's like they have a natural energy source inside, like they are powered from within. The strongest of them is Leo. It is the highest, most potent sun. We could say that Aries is a very impulsive. It's a child. It's impulsive. It's a newbie. It's reckless sometimes because it can't control its impulses. It's very self-oriented. It still doesn't know how to adjust itself with the surroundings. It's a very me orientation, and now orientation. But it's very fiery. Everyone who knows an Aries will recognize some of this, right? So it's kind of like it's inbuilt. There's this enormous willpower, and it boosts out of them, right? That's Leo is a bit older, you could say. They have learned they have to manage their energy a little bit differently. Otherwise, they can get enemies, right? So they have learned to conduct it a little more. And then you have Sagittarius. This is the old wise one, the philosopher. They know how to conduct their energy. They are wise. They have learned. They have learned from other lifetimes, right, to conduct their energies differently. It's not the same shine, but it's still very much present inside. They know how to, you could say, preserve it also, right? It's a bit different, but still very much there. Then you have the air signs. Air signs are usually in their head, right? They are thinkers, and chatty. They talk. Air signs have to talk. Like that is their sun. They have to say something. They have to influence. They say something. Think about it. If you say something and there's no reply, as I said before, if the sun is alone, so they say something and there's no reply. Nobody wants to listen, or there's nobody there. Like there's nobody there. I think this is one of the things that we have to alter, in the sense of when we think about outside life, outside Earth, life outside Earth. It's like there is an understanding that there is no other like us. Like the other planets that are in our solar system, they are dead, in the sense that we can't find physical life that resembles what we have on Earth. I don't think so. I think there is life. It's just not physical, right? It's not like us. But in order to, you could say, find this other life, we have to accept that there can be life that is not physical, right? That is not in a physical form like us. But that is a whole nother side. It's like opening a door to something that we have not opened the door to. Like physicists, they accept life only if it is like us. It's like we are the success criteria, right? It's like the physical form is the success criteria for life, for us. That's how we view everything, right? I say that I don't think this is true. My understanding is that there are many other kinds of life. It's just not physical form. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It would be the same as when people say that they talk to deceased loved ones. How is that possible? Well, maybe it is possible, right? People can see, certain people have other communication channels and are able to pick up on different kind of messages or information. And this, I believe, air signs do, like they have an antenna to somewhere else and can pick up information that is not here yet, right? That is one of the ways that new ideas come in, new inventions come in. Otherwise, it would be the same. It would stay the same without any new ideas, without boredom, and without new ideas. Life here on Earth would stay the same. There would be no evolution. There would be no change. There would be no transformation why should there be? Right? So without boredom, without pain, without problems, without there would be no change. These things have to be here, otherwise there is no change. If everything was peachy, nothing would change. There would be no frustration, there would be no anger, there would be no, all these are fire energies, all these are influencers to change. Okay, I don't know why I got out of that line, but I feel like I should say that. So, when we talk about Leo energy, I feel like you have to look a bit at your sun sign. I feel like that maybe your sun sign is influenced at the moment, no matter what kind of sun you have. But just think about it from what I just said. Leo completion can be the sense of leadership, right? That it's like maybe if you're an earth sign, you have a new idea to earn money, right? You take the sun and you put it into tangible earthy matters, right? That is what earth signs do, right? I feel like. If you are an air sign, maybe you have a new idea, right? And the completion of Leo means that there's a leadership coming through, that your sun can potentially be stronger, right? It can be more shiny. It comes through with a sense of more power, potentially, because we talk about the moon. And moon usually represents something hidden, something unfulfilled, something not quite there yet, something dead, something unempowered, something that is a secret, something that is not dared, something that is a shadow, right? So there could be a potential for embracing something in you which you haven't done before, right? You haven't done it before. And I say there is a potential because it doesn't mean that you necessarily get there. Because that's the reason why it comes again and again, right? Next year, around the same time, you will have the possibility again, right? One step at a time. Evolution is one step at a time. It's not just from A to B in 1 second. Sometimes it needs a bit of time, right? Sometimes it needs a bit of time. I feel like Leo, there's something about the soul also, like the soul shine, right? That something okay, I want to say it like this. It's like the soul wants to say something. And I believe that the soul is highly connected with the sun sign. We say the sun is the father. I say the sun, it's the one we worship. It's the one in the sky. It's God, it's source, it's whatever deity. It's something that we connect with, but it's a bit away from us, right? It's in us, but still maybe a bit away. We connect with a star out there, another sun, a soul system. We are star beings, whatever you believe in. This is like the voice that wants to talk to you, I feel like. And for this moon, it will come through in the way that how you are developed. So as I just said, if you have a watery sun like me, it comes in the heart. It is the feeling, it is the intuition, it's all the clairs, telepathy, claircognizance, it's all the invisible stuff. It's the intuition, it's downloads, it's watery, it's emotional, it's maybe you feel that something is hitting you, coming in like a beam in your heart space, right? That's what I felt yesterday. So I took a break, right? For everyone in the earthy matter, it could be the feeling that there's an eruption in, or something comes up, right? Something comes up, something major comes up in the tangible area. It could be something like you are, the tangible area can be your money, right? It can be either good or bad. It could be fears about losing them. It could be the tangibles. It could be your saving. It could be maybe you feel like there's an eruption in, or something is coming to, it has to be transformed, I feel like. If there's a fear about something, it comes up to be transformed, to be looked at, right? It comes up to be looked at, taken care of, witnessed, understood, embraced, so that you can move on, right? It wants to be it wants to be healed, you could say. Okay, air signs, right? Could be migraines. It could be, Okay, I'm back. I was interrupted. I'm sorry, but I was interrupted, which is also an interesting thing, that the feeling that something interrupts or is eruptive at this time. I have read other places that some astrologers see this full moon as a messy one, that there can be messiness coming in. I don't know if that's true. I don't think necessarily that, again, for me, messiness is not necessarily that. It's just something that needs to be looked at, right? Messiness can feel like it's a problem, right? Something that is an obstacle, something that is disturbing the peace, or something that disturbs the current, right? But for me, something that disturbs the current is an opportunity for change, or an opportunity to have a look at it. Why is it here, right? What is it? What does it want? And maybe to embrace it instead of just dismissing it, which we would normally do. Anyway. I talked about the signs, right? I talked about how this full moon could influence each of you, depending on what sun sign you have. Air can be the head, the mind, spinning thoughts. Maybe something about the consciousness, like maybe feeling an overwhelm of like a lot of incoming thoughts that can be, it can create confusion. When we have such powerful energies like Leo, the sun, and the moon combined, this can be like a finalization of seeing where your sun can be too much, perhaps. When your sun takes the overdrive, what happens, right? So for a thinker, if the mind takes over and it becomes, you could have like a hermit, a hermit mathematician, that locks themselves inside a door. They don't take care of their body. They don't wash. They don't eat. They don't sleep. This is where when the mind, the sun, that kind of mind, becomes too much, right? In the water, if you feel too much, if you are too empathic, if you are too romantic, maybe, if you are seeking an emotional connection more than anything else, you can overlook other things in your life. Like maybe you can't work, right? You have a broken heart. Maybe you can't work. Maybe you can't take care of, do you get my point? It's like if something becomes too much in your sun area, it can be your own devastation, right? That's kind of the same with the sun. Like if your sun shines too much, you kill everything else around you, right? It will burn out everything else around you. So there's something about recognizing your power, maybe, like your destructive power, destructive to others, but also destructive to yourself. Learning your power in the good way, learning in the life-giving way, maybe, and learning your power in the destructive area, right? Knowing that you have both, right? That it's both there. Now my camera is kind of... Okay. It tipped. Interesting. It's kind of tipped downwards. It's almost like take a look at yourself, right? Or it's almost like bowing your head, right? And maybe you shouldn't bow your head. It's just to recognize that, yeah, you have both. That there are both elements to you, right? If you spin in one direction, it can be too much. If you spin in the other direction, it can also be too much. It just try to find a middle ground of your own energy, and accepting that there are these outer polarities. Accepting that there are outer polarities with others also, other suns. And it's neither good or bad, it just is. It is what it is. So when we recognize, I talk to another sun, right? I as a Cancerian sun, I talk to an air sun. I recognize, where is this sun? Is it in one polarity or the other, or is it somewhere balanced, right? Has it understood its own destructive power, where it can conquer others and it can destroy themselves? A Leo that conquers others, that burn out a planet, also burn out themselves. There's no more mirror, right? When something devours something else, what it devours is gone. And when it's gone, the one that devours has no more food. So eventually it will be destructive, self-destructive to eat. It's something about not overdoing something, I feel like, with whatever sun power you have, whatever leadership you have. Like if you lead with your heart, fine, just know that it has both sides to it. If you lead with your mind, fine, just know that it has both sides to it, right? And now it tips again. So interesting. Why does it do that? I'm sorry. It's almost like this bowing thing, like it's almost like have a look at yourself, right? Don't bow your head. It's not like you're doing something wrong. Just know who you are. Know what others are. You can recognize where they are if you look at them, right? If you hear what they say, if you see what they express, you will know. Okay, this can be a water sun, great. Where are they on the scale, right? Where are they? Are they in one or the other area? Are they denying themselves? Are they very much in tune with themselves, so much so that it eats up other stuff, right? At least I want to say, if you're a hermit and you live in the mountains alone, you can do whatever you want. Like you can be whoever you want and however you want. But if you connect with others, if you live with others, if you have family, if you are close to others, and they have different suns than you, you will know that they are. You can recognize where they are in their sun area, right? Unless you don't care, of course. You only care about your own. Okay. I didn't anticipate going down this route actually when I sat down to do this, because I talk a lot about the other signs. I feel like this moon is impacting all of us. It's not just Leo. It's about our leadership. It's about our our energy source, because the energy source, the sun, is something that takes action. It's a powerful energy. It drives us in some direction. We take action from it. So if it is for some reason dimmed, if it's for some reason dimmed due to disgrace, shame or something, maybe the reason for that has to do with one of the polarities, and it could be a good thing to have a look at that. And I feel like if you have a feeling that this full moon has this kind of destructive impact, it's probably because your sun is dimmed for some reason, that you don't accept it, that you're not accepting the polarities in you, the power you hold to go either one way or the other with your energy. And I'm saying this from a place of love because, as I just said yesterday, I had a massive headache. I have massive emotional discharge. So I'm no better, right? I'm also going through a purge. I'm also, if you feel like you've had this, that's something, and again, that's what I feel like. We just have to look at it. That it's something that wants to be let go of. It's something that needs to be cleared for your sun to shine brighter, perhaps, right? For your sun not to dim itself. You just have to trust in it. But moon is, to me, moon, and again, I talk, Cancer is connected with the moon, Pisces too, right? And it's very watery, it's intuitive, it's emotional, it's heart-oriented. It can be everything moon. I feel like moon, everything that has to do with the moon can be like not the best emotions, right? It can be secretive, it can be fearful, it can be draining, it can be something we loathe maybe about ourselves. It has that tune to it, but water can also be beautiful, loving, kind, bliss, right? Water is all of that. It's connection. It's the kind touch and embrace, right? Again, water can have polarities, like any other sign can have polarity. In the earthy experience, you can either be or not be. So let's say I talked about it's physical, it's tangible, it is a product, it's something, but let's say that it disappears, right? The money disappears. All the things that has to do with earthy life and survival, everything that has to do with tangible living, things, production, the ability to grow things with your hands. If you lose that ability, your sun dims. So let's say you are a worker and you have been working with your hands all your life and you become older. Losing the ability to be productive in that way, losing the ability to handle and fix things, can make your sun dim. You become maybe a bit depressed. You become sad because it's like what gives you the most joy or the most worth is being lost, right? That is, moon can be fears, right? What we fear the most about losing our sun can come up during this time. Doesn't have to be, could be, right? Okay, let's have a look. So I have our ancient future here. I feel like this card came up also. Was it for the Cancer new moon? No, sorry, full moon, Cancer full moon. I did that reading a month or so back. Was it that one? So our ancient future here. So this one looks a bit like a mermaid. I feel like it's watery. So this moon, even though it is in Leo, it can feel like a watery one. Maybe that's why it's messy. Because for a Leo, water is messy. Like water, emotions are in the way of Leo, right? Leo doesn't want emotion. Like if Leo gets a conscience, if Leo has to deal with emotions, other people's emotions, it's in the way, right? A sun in the ocean, as I said, it can be drained. It can feel problematic. And moon is that. Like moon pokes at our our consciousness. It pokes at our feelings. It pokes to the fears in us. It wants us to have a look at the things that hold us back, why we don't do something, why we don't shine, perhaps, that is what moon does. It's gloomy sometimes. Doesn't have to be. But moon energy has this tune to it, right? That it can bring out the best in us, but also the I want to say worst, but the more shadowy side. And now again it has tipped. I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening about that. It's like it didn't do that before, did it? Right? Why is it doing this? Again, it's like it bows its head. You know, like if a child gets shamed, it looks to the ground, right? It gets sad, and that's what I feel like. It's like it's bowing its head. Like the camera is bowing its head. Why? Is there something about that? Have you bowed your head? Did you allow, was someone shaming you or telling you to dim your sun? You know, like not be what you are, be something else. Again, it's like she sits here, right? And it's like there is a beam from her head here, like a sun, right? Like she tries to beam here, but she's underwater, which is like for a sun not the best place to be, right? She has to adapt to become another sun, right? Another kind of sun. If she has to live in those conditions, she has to become a different kind of sun, right? Otherwise she won't live here. She will not survive. She will be burning out. If she if she wants to keep, like the sun is fire, right? If she wants to stay fiery underwater, she will burn out. Like a volcano and lava, right? It eventually it burns out. with a lot of steam and process and transformation, but eventually it burns out. It's like this one is in the wrong environment. It doesn't have to be water, right? It's just that moon energy has this watery tune to it. Like being in the wrong element. That you're put in the wrong place, right? Like being born into a family that simply doesn't get you, right? And your light cannot shine there. That you have learned mostly to bow your head and just do what you're told. And to actually not bow your head, to actually look back, look them in the eye and tell them, no, this is who I am. This is my sun. This is how I shine. Is terrifying, perhaps. You know, to stand on, like to affirm yourself, to say no, actually, to say no to their shaming, or to say no to the some kind of pressure, perhaps. It's like you can take any kind of sun. If you put the fire in a different environment, so a fire sun must be now an air sun, an air. It means that it cannot no longer use fire, right? It can no longer use fire. Fire is no longer an option. It has to learn to use something else if it wants to shine in one or the other way. It has to use another one. It's like for a fish or for a water element, it would mean to learn how to breathe air. When we are born, we come from water, right? In the womb, we lay in water. It's only when we get out, suddenly we have to use our lungs differently and breathe air now, not water, right? Air. It's like breathing the wrong fuel of some kind. Eating the wrong fuel, drinking the wrong. Do you get my point? It's like being in an environment, or have grown up in an environment where your sun was limited. I have talked about for a long, long time, there has been a theme about Leo, this idea that Leo becomes like a dog, not a Leo. It means that certain instincts are learned out of the Leo. It's like you take the certain instincts and take it out of the it's like a different animal. It's no longer a Leo, it becomes something else. Now I get something like and we are all, to a certain extent, part of this. The way civilization goes is that we are trying to get along, all of us. And we do so by having a so-called social behavior style where we can all be part of this place. But from an animal perspective, this is not normal, right? Because normally we would eat each other. Normally we would hunt each other. Normally we wouldn't try to get along. That's from an animal perspective, right? That's our evolutionary biological state. Then we have a consciousness state, which is different. It asks for kindness. It asks for a willingness to see and accept others. It asks for other things. So it's like we are this blend. And sometimes our instincts take over, and sometimes our virtuous beliefs takes over, and we are fighting this. It's like a back and forth inside. And then there is another element, and it is where we grow up, right? And what we learn. We are learning each other, parents to child, learning each other to overlook certain instincts in us, to be able to participate in civilization. Otherwise, we can't do it. We will fight. We will try to eat someone else or kill them or get them out of our way in some way. And Leo is what we would consider a predator, right? The lion is the king of the animals. It's the one that can defeat most, right? It's not only by its, is not necessarily that big of an animal, but the internal power is. The strength in the Leo, the endurance, the willpower of the Leo is the one that others can compete with. And that's why they eventually will bow to the Leo, right? Because the shine of the Leo is so fixed, you could say. It's so solid and robust, and it will not change. Its ways, it's set in stone, you could say. It's a given. Like we see the sun, it doesn't change, right? It's the same. It comes in with the same amount of power. We have to swing away from time to time because otherwise we are grilled. We will not be able to sustain ourselves if we stay too long in the presence of Leo. Okay, let's have the moon card here. This can be something we fear, right? Or Divine Mother, nurturing, compassion, and grace. Very purple. So when I get something golden like the halo here, and the Divine Mother, this looks very virtuous to me. It tells me something about. And now it bows again here, the camera. It's very interesting. This idea of the bowing, right? The bowed head. We see it here as well, like the bowed head. It's like bowing to something very big, something bigger, which the sun is. It is very big. But it tells me something about like not the animal side. That what you could be struggling with, what the moon is coming up with, can be about these, let's call them human sides, right? It's not the animal side. It is the rules we follow, the social conduct we follow. And sometimes these things are also what stands in the way of just doing whatever we want, right? That some of this holds us like a code or something. We live by a code here. And the code is maybe to bow the head, right? Bow the head to certain rules, certain behaviors. For some specific reason, right? Maybe it keeps us safe. Maybe we are liked because of it. Maybe we are chosen because of it. Maybe we are loved because of it. The bowing of the head here. But it also means that we are not necessarily, so it means we are graceful, right? It says in nurturing, compassion, graceful. We are this and not wild, right? We are this, but not wild. Because the wild part is animalistic. Let's have a look at this other one here. 8 of Wands. Eight of Wands usually talks about passionate. It's fiery. It's fire. Fire here. Wands energy, fire. So we have passion versus grace, right? Passion and the bowing of the head in divine grace. Submission, following certain rules, religion, tradition, moral, for the greater good of something, or for some kind of ideal or identity. But then there's this one. And I get a feeling of the sunrise here, that something is beginning to emerge here. That something begins to emerge from the deep, coming from the deep conscience to the consciousness, right? So it comes from down upwards to the mind, becoming conscious about something that has been maybe unconscious before. There could be urges here, passions. There could be anger, frustration. Fire is a lot of things, right? It has outer polarities. Frustration, rage, anger. Maybe you are angry about being one who bows their head. Maybe you are fed up with it. maybe you are wanting that the fire that comes from beneath can also be like the Leo, right? It can be strength that comes. It can be the leader, the inner leader that wants to come to the surface. Again, there is this sunrise here that kind of tells me about something new, that the sun wants to rise again. It wants to come from down under and start rising. Again, this golden halo here, like there could be a feeling of that this is like the sun, right? That's people can see your sun. Our ancient future, there's something historical, I feel like here. It's a contradiction, right? Ancient and future. Like in a linear thinking, these two don't go together, right? Ancient and future is like outer polarities. It's like two different time. It's a different. Either it's ancient, so historical, back in time, or is future. It's out in the future somewhere. Our ancient future. If these two must meet up, I would say it could be done so in a circular time understanding. It means that everything is happening at the same time, all timelines are available at the same time. So all, you could say, past lives are available. You can tap into all of them at the same time. You are not, you could say, you're not fixed in one life. You can have multiple traits from different lifetimes and different experiences at the same time. This would normally make most people psychotic. Because normally our brain cannot handle that kind of information. It would make us second guess who we are. It would make us like the personality trait, our identity would be messed with, you could say. It feels like there is something that potentially from deep inside you that wants to come to the surface. It's very passionate. That there is it's very passionate about bringing forth this message, whatever it is. It's very passionate about. There's an urgency, I feel like, that this message is important to get to the surface. It's important to, there is an urgency about it. Something that needs to be looked at. It's no longer under, right? It's something, you become conscious about something. That it has started shining. It's no longer something you can repress down. There is something that has started shining. We could say that a full moon of Leo could talk about that the moon is done, right? That the moon state is done. That now the Leo can shine as a sun. It doesn't have to stay a moon, right? That it's done being a moon. Or that the moon phase, whatever it may have held of distress or pain or fear or something, is done. You no longer fear showing who you are. You no longer fear. You are accepting your polarities. You are accepting your power, maybe. You are not wanting to hide it. It's no longer something that is a secret, or it's no longer a secret to you, right? It has come up here with a sense of urgency. Yeah, I feel like she wants to say that I get a very acknowledging vibe from her, actually. It's like it's like she appreciates the honesty. She appreciates, it's almost like she's nodding, right? Yeah, well done, or something, right? It's like acknowledging your everything in you is, she's appreciating your the fact of honesty and acknowledgement. She can let go, right? The moon can let go of you now. You're ready, right? The moon can let go of you now. You're ready. Interesting. It's almost like she is some kind of karma, right? That something ancient that she has been with you and kept your son in a position, and you had to work your way through that to be ready, right? To see your potential, to see your true power, to see who you are with all of your aspects. And that it's almost like it's time, right? It's time now to let your halo shine, or let your sun shine, right? That your sun should no longer be in the moon area, right? It should be in the sun area. Something is beginning to as I said, it is beginning. It is starting here to be visible, maybe, for others to see. Again, Divine Mother here can be what we sometimes also refer to as Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Jesus' wife, something like that. We also say Mother can be Gaia. It is Earth, it's where we live. It's the mother, it's the womb channel, right? The life channel. Nurturing compassion and grace. Again, the bowed head, I feel like it links with certain virtues, I feel like, or certain beliefs, certain... Again, these two go together, right? This is urgent. And when it becomes conscious to you, you will know what to do. It brings forth certain elements of joy also and happiness. There's something about visibility, that something becomes visible in you, perhaps, meaning that it becomes conscious. It's no longer unconscious, it becomes conscious. But it also becomes visible to other people around you, that they can see something about you here. When I also get something about Gaia. I get something about Mother Earth. Again, look at this card. We have nature here, and it comes from down here and up, right? It's almost like she is saying something. She is saying something. Like Gaia is saying something. Something new here, a sunrise. When someone bows their head, they usually don't say much. They do the opposite. Someone else is saying something. She listens and bows her head, right? That is the nun. It is the sacred mother. She complies, or she decides not to speak. She becomes silent. She's a bit of a Madonna-like person, right? And for some reason, this has become a good thing, right? That someone like this is a good person. because they have these virtues: nurturing, compassion, graceful, caring. She could be a nurse, right? She can be a helper, a healer. She has enormous kindness and beauty. Again, there's a sense of beauty with her, right? But it's a beauty that is, it's not a cosmetic beauty, right? It's something about her heart, right? It's the leadership in her, right? It's what leads her to be like this, because she could be something else, but she's not, right? She's like this. Why is she like this? It's because something is leading. It's the sun, right? It leads her. It inspires her. It's a passion. It's a love, right? It's dear to her. It's everything. It's life-giving to her. Sun is life force, right? It's like she cannot not do it, right? That would be like killing her inner sun. And I think it's not that all of you become divine mothers. It's not like that. What I see in this card is just this idea of embracing that son of yours. Again, something leads us. Something from deep down, something inside us leads us, right? It inspires us. It feels right. It feels like this is where we belong. This is who we are. And therefore, we will need to be that one. We will need to be that one. We will need to think like that. We will need to go like that. We will need to dress like that. We will need to behave like that. Because that is what you could say, bow to in ourselves. And I believe it's the soul speaking, right? When the sun comes forward, the ego no longer rules. It becomes the soul speaking. This is like the soul speaking. And you can try to run from it. You can try to avoid it. You can try to drown it, but it's not how it works. I said there's something about bowing here, right? And yes, but it's who you bow to, right? As I said, have you bowed to your parents because they shamed you? Were they the right ones to bow for? Like their leadership, their way of conducting things. Is that what you want to bow your head towards? Or is there something else here that is bigger, brighter, more important, urgent, real, honest? Something you devote like she devotes herself, right? It's something about what you devote yourself to. Because yes, there are leaders in this world, but being a follower of someone is also a leadership. It's a choice. If we follow someone else, we choose to. That is a leadership decision inside. You could also choose not to be a follower, to be your own son. It feels a little bit like someone is aware of their own son here, whom to bow to, or to follow, or to be inspired by, or what is her life force. It may be an ancient thing that now becomes your future. But it's something that is of vital importance to your own happiness and power and strength. When you allow yourself to listen to what this is, it will empower you. It will be who you are. Again, when she bows, what is she bowing to? And by bowing, I don't mean that she is disempowered. It's allegiance, right? It's a companionship. There's something that guides her here, that she lives by. And because she lives by this, it's her match, like it is a match for her. It's like home, it's like her home. And when she lives by this, it will empower her, right? That is the reason why she bows to it, or why she follows it. It feels right. It's nurturing. It gives her energy. It is true to her inner core. It's an inner core thing. Living in accordance with your inner core will empower you in the areas that you need. Again, I've said before that abundance is not always money and, like wealth and big houses and big cars. And for her, it may be motherhood, right? It has nothing to do with money or power or Divine Mother. It may be like the Divine Mother has a certain consciousness. She has a certain way of seeing the world, seeing other people. She has a way of moving, maybe a way of dressing, a way of moving. Her pace is in a certain way, her words, her tune are in a certain way. When she aligns herself more and more with this, it will empower her. It is right for her. It's her home. It's her source of energy. It's her channel, right? Energy's channel. And if she is not living in accordance with it, she will be drained. It's like there is not enough oxygen. But it also means that she has to accept all about it. As I said, if you are a watery person, you have to accept this about yourself. If you are an air person, you have to accept this about yourself. All of it. The beauty of it, the dangers of it. The way you can inspire under, the way you can kill their ideas, right? The way you can make things grow, the way you can destroy things. You have to accept all of them about you. The Divine Mother is usually, in the sense and understanding of Madonna, she is the one that loves everyone, right? She loves everything. She will not, she's a Divine Mother, she will care for everyone. She will care for the wicked, even, the poor, she will care for those who can't care for themselves. She will be kind to those who are not kind to her, you know. That's why we see her with such that's why she has a certain respect maybe around her. It's because she's doing something that most don't do. It's because she sees beyond the obvious. And because she is driven by something here. It drives her. It's an awareness, it's a consciousness that drives her. And it's so big that nothing can destroy it, right? When this connection is made, nothing can destroy it. It's who she is. It's what she beams out, right? She beams out something. As I said, like a sun, right? It beams out from her. And again, I don't feel like that it has to be so like her, right? It just means that you follow your sun, right? It means that if it comes from deep down here for you during this moon, maybe some kind of truth, some kind of willpower, or some kind of, as I said, fire can be like a burning sensation that needs to be released, that needs to be looked at. Why is it so? If something burns in your, your chest or something, in your stomach, it's because it wants to be recognized. That a sun in moon position needs to become, hatching out of the moon state into a sun state, right? It has to be seen now, or recognized or understood. And the more you know about yourself, whatever this is, the more you know about yourself, and you can accept it also like a divine mother, like take in whatever it is. Accept this about yourself. The more it will empower you, I feel like, and also give you peace, right? The things that are moon energies are usually something unsolved, something we haven't cleared or purged or understood or accepted about ourselves. Ancient future. This ancient, it tells me it could be something from way back in your life, something from way back, how you recognize something how you were when you were born, right? It could be other lifetimes that you have lived in accordance with your son somehow. That you have lived in accordance with this son before, and it's coming back to you now and becomes your future, because when you know, you cannot not know. When you hear it and it becomes visible now to you, you cannot not know. And I feel like there's a sense of, well, maybe there's a turmoil before this. But when it gets here, you realize that the sun is also considered joy and happiness, right? It's like a coming home, a realization that this is who you are and where you belong. And it's non-negotiable. Like when it's here, when it becomes not a moon anymore, I get a feeling of like this, it's almost like there has been a birthing of a sun. And it comes to a completion, or there is a potential that it comes to a completion. And now it's like, right, this sun is always with you now, it's part of your consciousness. And therefore you live by it, right? It's what you bow to. It's interesting, it hasn't bowed for a long time now, right, the camera? It's what you bow to, or what you follow. What code are you following? Bowing to is maybe the wrong word, but it's just what she does with her head here. It's like, it's so big. It's so big that it's a natural thing for her to follow this. She's a disciple, right? It's living by some kind of code here that comes from this, that comes from here, deep down in her. It has now hatched. It's people can see it, right? She starts to live by it more and more. It's visible. So that's what I feel like. Very interesting energy. It's like a moon that has outgrown to be a moon. it no longer wants to stay a moon, it wants to become a sun. So it hatches. Like, I feel like that's the best description, right? It's like it's ready to show, it's ready to fly, it's ready to do its thing, it's ready to be this person, it's ready to. And that's the completion part of the Leo, right? That there has been this, because this is as I said, a choice. It's a leadership thing. Everything you choose from it, like deep down, comes from a leadership position, right? It's a soul leadership. The bottom of the deck for our ancient future. Wow. Okay, I get soul star chakra here, right? That something from deep down becomes your awareness now. It's in your mind. It means that you can no longer not know it. Merging with the divine, it says here. Merging with the divine. And after the merging, you will shine your light. You will shine your sun, right? Okay, this one. Two of Pentacles. Yeah, here you have someone who it's like you're doing two jobs, or you are in between. You are not clear on which parts to follow. Two of Pentacles is like trying to do two jobs at the same time, having too much on your plate. So let's say you want to follow your ego and you also want to follow your soul. It's too much, too difficult. But now it becomes clearer, right? Now it becomes clearer. And Divine Mother, let's have a look. And then it says Earth Magic here. It says fearlessness, removing obstacles. And look, she's riding with this big sun behind her, right? It's like knowing that she's backed, knowing that someone has her back now. Being fearless. Here there is no sun behind, right? Here it's like she moves forward, knowing that someone is backing her. Someone has her back here. Someone is with her, as well as this, right? And there's no such thing as a wrong sun, right? We all have different ones. There is not only one kind. It's easy to point fingers at other suns. But if you are not that one, how can you point finger? You don't know what their life is. Right? You don't know what their circumstances are. You don't know how they experience life. What is valuable to them. As I said, it comes from deep down within. It's a core thing. It's easy to judge others if you have other needs than they have, or other principles, other virtues, other drives or urges, or it's easy to judge someone else. But as long as you are not walking in their shoes, how can you know what's right for someone else? Your parents probably didn't know what was right for you. And they may have made you bow to them, but you may have bowed to the wrong one. The one that is right for you is this one that comes from deep within, from your core. Yeah, this is what I feel like. I get such a humble feeling, like maybe that's what she feels like when something, like it's almost like the Holy Spirit is with you or something, you know, like that your soul is backed from a divine source or something. I get really humble and I think that is the reason why it's when we are humbled by something very big. I think when the Holy Spirit comes over a person, you can't describe it to someone who hasn't felt it. Like it's huge. That's the feeling I get. It's like being, and that's why it's the feeling that it's there, right? That it's always there. Like merging with the divine is a huge experience because it becomes bigger than you. Yeah, I just have this very humbled feeling, and maybe that's why the bowing is there, right? This is just but the point is that it's not a bad feeling, right? It's the opposite. It's probably the first true thing. The first true thing, experience that you may have ever had. It's the only thing. Like it overrules everything else. You have to follow it, or you have it's non-negotiable. As I said, it's home. It's something that feels so right. Something that fits you perfectly, something that empowers you. and you're humbled by it. Like maybe that's why the bowing of like it's like that's just what it is. It's not. But this too is a choice, right? It is a choice. And I think that it fills you up, like it will fill you up in your sun area. So if you are watery, it will be in the heart area. If you are fiery, it will be in the personal power, solar plexus area. It will empower you in the air area if you are an air sign. And if you're an earth sign, it will empower you in the earth element. And the point is that it feels like abundance, like it feels like true happiness, abundance. It has nothing to do with money, riches, wealth, all this superficial stuff. It could be, well, I don't know, earth signs maybe, but again, I'm biased. I'm a water sign, right? So for me, it would be in the heart area. For others, it would be in other areas. Could be money if you're an earth sign, earth sun. Could be money, could be tangibles, could be if you are humbling yourself to the voice here. To this feeling, this yeah, I get a humble feeling. I get this being quiet and just listening, feeling. But it's a merge. I say, like, again, the merging here. It's a merging of it's like a homeless coming home, right? Yeah, a homeless coming home. Very interesting. Again, this is a general reading. This is a possible outcome, right? It's general, it may not be for everyone, but there's a potential of a fulfilling, I feel like a sun that is ready to hatch. A sun that has been a moon hidden, but is ready to show itself. One that has been away, ancient, hasn't been here, hasn't been visible, but now becomes the future. Something like that. Yeah, this is what I have. I hope this helped. Please let me know if this makes sense. As always, I apologize if this was a long reading, but I am an intuitive reader, and this is how I do this, right? I hope this helped. this is a very, it feels like a very new, like a newbie feeling, but it is extremely beautiful. And it just feels right and true and pure and real and the right way to move forward. And for those of you who recognize this and feel this is like you feel this in your soul somehow, I guess this reading is for you, right? It is very beautiful. So please just take it in, accept it, and I wish you, all of you, the very best out there. Love and light to you. Bye-bye.